day. This is the deadline day roundup, and some of you might who are going to be here live and whatever thinking, well, deadline day's not done yet. Deadline day technically ends at 11 p.m. Tonight, and this is 22:10 instead. But look, deadline day might not be closed, but Liverpool's deadline day business seems pretty much done at this point. I just want to chat through it really, because obviously it's been a wild day, particularly if you have looked on social media at all. I mean, a wild day to end a wild month, couple of months, however long it's been since the end of the season, to be perfectly honest. If you've got any thoughts about everything, please feel free to use the chat and whatever. If you're a particular YouTube member, I believe it's members only chat, because it's unbearable, just the volume. It's unreadable. So if you are a member, then please feel free to get your comments in on anything Liverpool have done, or more importantly, have not done in this transfer window so far. Yeah. Today's been mad. I mean, obviously things kick off. Jordan Henderson, we now know, has been tied down to a new contract with Liverpool, 2025, which will make him 35 years old. So we know that that's been boxed off. That's the skipper, and that was one of the things that's been rumbling on for the transfer window, of course, because early on in the window, just before he finished the Euros, just before he went on holiday, there was that news report that came out saying that look, he wasn't getting the contract offer that he felt he was worthy of, he felt he deserved, and he might even move in this transfer window, which had, I mean, cast your minds back, it feels like an absolute eternity ago, but that did feel like it was a mad possibility. A big deal for Liverpool to get. It's a big deal for Liverpool to get Jordan Henderson done, but the timing of it feels, I get it. Look, you've got to do it at some point. If you don't do these things today, then you've got an entire day where your entire focus is on Liverpool not making transfers. So is that a cynical move? At this point, probably, because the interesting thing is if Liverpool, and I said this about a month, or maybe a bit more than a month ago, around the time when they really started to ramp up the contract stuff, I think, and saying, do they make as big a deal of these contracts if there's player announcement videos being made? If Liverpool are signing 2 or 3 more players on top of Canate, pretty big deal. It's a pretty big deal. Bear with me, I'm just going to see if I can sort the Wi-Fi issue out on here without disconnecting the iPad completely. It was a little bit of a mad one, the Nat Phillips contract thing, of course, because, I mean, it kind of came out of nowhere, right? You know, all the talk was, in the summer, he would probably get his move. You know, Burnley looked like a really obvious destination for Nat Phillips. Looked like with Brighton would have had some Ben White money to spend, and that might have been a pretty reasonable thing for him as well. But no, Nat Phillips has signed the deal, and there's a chance there might be a last-minute loan. But RHYS Williams has gone out on loan to Swansea, so it kind of has that all-around feeling of. And look, let's just make this clear. The big argument we were having prior to pre-season was, are we going to have enough centre-backs? Because on paper, Van Dijk, Gomez, Matip, Canate is probably the 4 best centre-back collection that any team's got on the planet, just in terms of pure talent and ability. But you've got 2 coming back from major injuries, and you've got 1 who's been injury-prone, and you've got even your young new guy as well, has had his own share of bits and pieces of injuries, although maybe slightly overhyped, but whatever. On the back of the season Liverpool had, do you need more? Because we got caught out big time. We all know this. Everyone knows that Liverpool's season nearly completely collapsed because of the injuries to centre halves. So we had this chat. A lot of us had this chat, and maybe not everyone, but keep Nat Phillips till January. If you're going to be brutal, keep him till January, and then see what the situation is. See how Virgil gets on. Now, obviously, I think what they've done is they go, right, we definitely want to be. We all want to keep 1 more, and no. I would guess no significant offer or an offer they consider acceptable for Nat Phillips came in, and then you're in a situation where you're getting towards deadline day, and RHYS Williams is now too good to not play senior football, and no offers, acceptable offers come for Nat Phillips. So okay, well look, Phillips' contract's running down anyway, so get him tied down so you don't lose him on a free, and risk losing 10, 12 million pound maybe for him. And let RHYS go and get the experience on loan. So that seems pretty reasonable to me. And now we're in a situation where I think there's, you know, I've been joking. It wouldn't shock me to see like the Mohamed Salah contract thing drop in at 10 o'clock, probably just for the fume. I've got a feeling someone at this point fully appreciates what they're doing and is just either having a laugh with it, or they really, really hate the guy running Liverpool's social media and just want him to have a really, really miserable time on deadline day, getting sack loads of abuse from all quarters. So, yeah, I mean, just in terms of the other bits and pieces that have happened so far, Shea Ojo apparently could end up at Millwall. I think most people have forgotten he was even a Liverpool player, so that's not really going to move the needle too much, is it? But I mean, look, to be fair, let's get him a move. I mean, if it's a shame that it would have to be another loan move, but there's a lad who had talent, but clearly hasn't got what Liverpool are looking for. Just let him go. Let him go about his business. There is also, I think, Jake Kane's had a loan move as well. We're going to see. I think we're going to see a few. We might see one or two little bits and pieces like that. Now there's talk. I'm just seeing actually that the Kylian Mbappe thing. Kylian Mbappe to Real Madrid is not happening. Now, does that mean he's coming to Liverpool on a free next summer? Absolutely, probably not. But that's something, right? Right? Yeah. Let's be honest, it's weird. It's been a weird few weeks. It's been a weird, disappointing day. I genuinely, we did a big chat about the ownership and what have you on the podcast. So if you want to get a more in-depth chat around FSG and all that kind of stuff, I mean, look, we do it every summer. It's not a question that ever goes away, and it's not a question we ever shake. But there's a better chat on it. I didn't expect any transfers, because you always get an inkling that, so even when they come from out of nowhere, you know, they don't really truly that often come completely out of nowhere. There is a little bit of a muttering and rumbling. So there was none of that at all today. And the problem is, of course, is that you've got loads and loads and loads of social accounts, and you've got actually rival fans who are looking for banter. You've got social accounts looking to try and drive some clicks and try and get some last juice out of the Liverpool name, some last views. And I was talking to someone who runs a load of websites and saying, like, just the numbers of views that go out on deadline day for stuff is insane. Like, people care about football clubs that you wouldn't normally get loads of news and noise on, because it's deadline day. But yeah, it's I guess tempered expectations is probably the best way to describe it. Right, we've got some comments in. I want to talk through a few of them. Let's see. Martin Jeremy says deadline day has never been very active for incomings under Klopp. Not going to change anytime soon. I mean, we signed Oxlade-Chamberlain the day before deadline day. I think I'm right in saying that, which was annoying because we were doing a live deadline day show on Ball Street at the time. It would have been great to have Ox. The Virgil van Dijk thing never happened that the summer as well that it was meant to, and then obviously ends up happening before January even kicks off. We did some last minute business in January, so it does kind of happen. But I agree, Liverpool, there's a real smell of desperation around deadline day business, which of course Sky Sports won't publicise, because they want you there and they want you on Sky Bet and they want you doing all their bits and pieces. But it smells like you've not done your job, because if you need a deadline day move. However, that being said, I'm very much psychologically in the frame of mind where I would just be signing someone, an international from the Bundesliga or from La Liga, or someone who's a seasoned international with caps on loan. I don't care if he doesn't play. No interest. Don't care if he doesn't play at all. I was joking before on Twitter. What's Nuri Sahin doing? Get him back. Because we can all sit here and make a boss case. Oh, maybe Rodgers didn't quite get the better. Well, he played for Borussia Dortmund in that brilliant Klopp team, and Real Madrid wanted him. So there's clearly a player there. He might be 40, and he might even be dead. I've not paid any attention to Nuri Sahin's career, but like psychologically, that's where I'm at right now. I'm at the stage where I think everyone just be chill if they just brought in someone who we'd heard of on loan, and if they ended up not playing a single minute of football for us. But which is madness when you think about it, utter madness. Yeah, in fact, Ryan Warren makes an interesting point. This says, hello, mate. Annoying we didn't go in for the loan deal for Sol. Yeah, they're talking €5 million, I think, is the loan fee, and I believe it's option. I don't know if it's option to buy or obligation to buy. Because if it was only option to buy, then yeah, why not? The issue with Saul, and this is the reason why I think Liverpool went in for him in a transfer sense as well, because Liverpool clearly had a word. Liverpool clearly sounded out Saul, as much as there's been denials from a lot of the regular sources. The word on the grapevine is Liverpool had a word and had a look at Saul. Ryan Warren there saying option to buy. So yeah, okay, well maybe that's the case. his wages are mad. And again, look, this is the problem we've become. And to use Conor McMullen's super chat there, we are now Contract FC. Well, yeah, we are now, and our fan support group is now wage bill are us or whatever. It's terrible. I really could have done something much funny with that, but I didn't. It's late. Because we all now have to care about these things, and it's shit that we have to think about these things, but that's wage bill, still a wage bill. And Saul's, by all accounts, on more money than Mohamed Salah at Atletico Madrid, and they're playing him left back. They're playing him left back. He improves the squad, but doesn't improve the first team. And for a player who would come in, who would want, I mean, maybe you get him on a wage reduction, but either way, you're putting him in the same bracket as Salah, Van Dijk, who are the best centre half and one of the best forwards on the planet. I can understand why you wouldn't do that deal in isolation, but obviously in terms of wouldn't it be nice to get a good footballer to come in and help bolster the ranks, then yeah, the Salah one, particularly on loan, seems like a bit of a no-brainer. Although it's also worth pointing out that Klopp doesn't like loans because, and it goes back to the Renato Sanchez one where he was at Bayern Munich and he was available for loan. Did he go to Swansea and was poo? But the general line coming out of it was Klopp's not interested in making rival players better on his dime and his time. So I can understand why that wouldn't be the case. But again, as a fan, yeah, just do it. If I'm doing Footy Manager now, I'm boxing Saul on deadline day because of exactly what I said there, because of the positive vibes that it sorts out for you and gives you, and it makes you feel loads more relaxed. Yeah, Mohit saying the same. We've officially become Contract FC. Mohit asking, do you expect any signings before deadline? No, I wouldn't. Not from Liverpool. I would be genuinely amazed. I mean, it would be hilarious for them to do it, for them to just pull someone out at the last minute, but I wouldn't imagine so. Trig Josh with the £10 super chat. Josh, you're amazing. Paul, I think this is a good topic for discussion. Liverpool need to release surplus unwanted players that they can't sell to make way for incoming revenue versus future success. Who decides? I don't know. Look, I don't think Liverpool do need to release surplus unwanted players because I don't think there's that. Karius is the only one where you might go, if there's no takers for Karius and psychologically where he's at, I don't know. You know, I don't think you got. I mean, look, they could, if they wanted to, they could register Karius now because they've got space. We've got the maximum now allotted non-homegrown players at Liverpool, including Loris Karius. No, that's going to make a lot of people's toes curl, and fair enough. But he's one of the rare examples where I don't know what the future holds for him. Maybe Liverpool owe it to him to look after him, and that's fair. You know, he had his brain effectively, you know, his psyche crushed on Liverpool's watch. So maybe they do owe him a bit more than that, a bit more of a duty of care to him. But he's probably one of the few examples. I mean, I don't know who that would be to the point of if there's anyone you could release from contract. And again, I think we've realised now because the Karius thing, I don't think stands in the way of signing a non-homegrown player. I don't think he does. I think he would now because I think there's just enough wiggle room to have brought someone in. So as much as we speculated that might be an issue, that or the player they want isn't available for the price they want to get him in this summer, which is also possible because God knows we've done that before. Mohit saying we've done so well financially, and to do that and not sign anyone is so effed up. Yeah, it does. It feels mad, doesn't it? It feels like it. I mean, this is the problem I have with this, is that now this is our 12th year. We're into our 12th season of me doing this on YouTube, so following Liverpool and through the ups and downs and what have you. But I don't call too much back to those early years because those early 5 or 6 years and the first 5 years of FSG in particular, it's hard to hark back to them because Liverpool were rubbish. So, you know, Liverpool, whether they were getting transfers right or not, and that's debatable, they weren't good enough on the pitch. Whereas what I'm looking back in, I can't help, and maybe it's just me being the eternal optimist, to look back to the season we won the Champions League, and I was here doing the same thing, people going absolutely frothing at the mouth that Liverpool hadn't. And they signed a backup goalie who ended up playing, I think, the first 11 games of the season in the season that we won the league. And we signed a 16-year-old Harvey Elliott, who we didn't really consider or think about, who now is a starting player in our midfield 2 years on. And that was, people were apoplectic. And that was, you know, we've signed a £36 million centre half in this window on the back of we signed a lot more players last year as well. So, yeah, again, it's not because necessarily I'm saying it's right. I'm just saying the context, I think, is quite important. Bobby Gunter, we used to be using this time panicking. Torres, Suarez, Coutinho, etc. We're going to be leaving. So far, as bad as it's been, it's better than it used to be, and that's important. Again, we haven't heard any of Liverpool's major stars linked away, and again, it's not been that long. We're talking 4 years really since our top stars were up for grabs for the established elite, your Barcelonas, your Real Madrids, and maybe one or two others to add into that mix. But really, Barcelona and Real Madrid were able to turn heads, and Man City had become that because of Sterling being the example, and that doesn't happen anymore because players are now paid competitively and they win major honours, or they challenge for major honours at Liverpool, and there's no more that you can offer a footballer than the chance for personal and team glory, plus really competitive money and a good working environment and people to work with and all those kind of things, and probably a nice, settee for the house. So yeah, I agree. I think that's a great point from Bobby Gunn, to be honest. Adam says, this is deflating heading into the rest of the season. We know inevitable injuries are incoming. Yeah, again, we do and we don't, because look, we do in so much as every team has injuries every season, so I get that. The problem is, I think there's a lot of this talking with absolute certainty around negativities on stuff, which you might be right, but the problem is that I, if you feel that way, there's nothing I'm going to say that's going to assuage that. I can't say anything because I don't know. I can't sit here and go, this is the problem with the negativity around it. For me, just lastly, I think if you rewind back to the team that won the Champions League, Liverpool won the Champions League, and after winning the Champions League, since we've won the Champions League, by the way, and in that time we've won the league, the Club World Cup and the Super Cup or whatever as well, and had last season undercut by injuries and still managed to finish third, whatever. They added Adrian, won us the Super Cup, played those games when Alisson was injured and when we won the title, fine. We signed a potential wonder kid in Harvey Elliott. We've signed one of the best midfielders in world football in Thiago Alcantara. We've signed a left back who looks capable of giving Andy Robertson a real run for his money and not weakening that left hand side by putting Milner in there, so we've strengthened left back. We've signed Ibrahima Konate, so we've got one of the biggest upcoming centre-half talent in the world as well. And we signed Diogo Jota, who can slot in for almost any of the front three and score goals at an elite rate. And that's added to a team that won the European Cup and finished second in the league with 97 points. So Liverpool have improved. They just haven't added loads this season. They've doubled down on making sure they keep the squad together for a few more years, and maybe into that period where you start to transition Jurgen Klopp out in 2024. It's not great to think about, but it's my hot take on it for what it's worth anyway. Martin Jeremy just lastly says, do you think there was an attacker Klopp wanted but not available this summer, and maybe look again in Jan or next summer? Possibly. I wonder whether he's given, I think because of the disaster of last season, I think his motivating tool is a bit like when we let Coutinho go and didn't buy a direct Coutinho replacement. It was get everyone together and focused on this, us against the world. We're going to go and put last season to rights. I think that's what he's doing, and I think to do that, he's putting faith in Keita, Oxlade-Chamberlain and Taki Minamino, which might be madness. The Minamino stuff seems a bit odd right now, but if he does kick on, then it's a masterstroke. But if he doesn't, maybe he's left us a bit underwhelming. But my overall feeling is Liverpool will be there, and if we manage to beat Chelsea, which is a very difficult thing to do, I think we'd be feeling loads better about everything. If we drawn to Man City at home, who I think are the three elite clubs in the Premier League right now, I don't think we feel as bad, even if City had 10 men. Maybe it's just because Chelsea are a bit new to this all. I don't know. But anyway, look, thanks so much everyone for joining us. That's been an absolute pleasure. We got there in the end with some streaming issues, but yeah, I'm going to be doing the Reds transfer roundup show tomorrow. Wrapping up everything and getting into the nitty-gritty of it all, streaming on the redmentv.com, and Neil Jones will be on Thursday to give us the insight on what happened and why it didn't happen and all those really good things as well. That'll be live on here, so yeah, check us out. Although I'm going right now, I should be doing it right now, I'm late. I'm so sorry to the guys doing the Red Sea podcast. I'm jumping straight over there to go live on their live transfer podcast, so check out the Red Sea podcast on YouTube.